Let's see what that defense attorney tries to do on redirect examination. He's got to rehabilitate his guy. Let's get back in for more.
Bud, was there a final divorce hearing in your case several weeks after that?
There was.
Okay. And the grounds for the divorce were 1 year legal separation?
That's correct.
All right, I just want to go back over a couple of things. You don't dispute the phone records in this case. You've answered every question that Mr. Meadows asked you about the phone records, correct?
That's correct.
And you don't dispute, or do you dispute any of the technical records that have been put in by the state or the defense as far as timing and what happened and what was going on?
I don't.
Okay. And did you answer those to the best of your knowledge?
I did.
Okay. Now, do you know the times of all these different events?
I have no idea.
Okay. And do you know what's actually, at that time, did you know what was being actually recorded on the systems in the car?
Not actually everything, but I knew it recorded a lot.
You knew it recorded, but I'm talking about at the time, did you know what was being recorded at that time?
No, sir.
Okay. That was something that was provided in the discovery in the case,
That's
correct? Okay. The phone records were provided in discovery, correct?
That's correct.
And you don't dispute those?
I don't.
And we have phone records. Do we have phone records from you?
That's correct.
Do
Yes.
we have phone records from Meredith Haynie?
As far as I know, yes.
Do we have phone records for Davis McClendon?
Yes, sir.
And you're not disputing the phone calls that were made that are indicated on those phone records?
No, sir.
Mr. Meadows asked you about those,
That's
correct? On that day, on May 6th, I believe you had testified on direct examination that Meredith, other than the text that you sent her with the pictures of the kids from Abbeville, was not responding to your phone calls. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And as a result of that, is that why you called her several times, number of times?
That's correct.
And your purpose in trying to call her?
Was just to talk to her.
Okay. Even at May 7th, knowing that there was a final hearing scheduled maybe in another month or whatever it was.
Nature of the objection.
Form of the question, testifying and leading.
Okay.
Right?
Rephrase.
Okay. Was there a final hearing scheduled in the case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at the time on May 6th or May 7th, did you still love your wife?
I did.
Were you dating?
I was not.
Were you upset that she was dating?
I was.
Emotionally upset?
Emotionally.
Were you going to do anything about it?
No, sir.
When you were talking to Davis McClendon, what was your purpose in the meeting?
Talk.
What did you get from some of the phone calls or part of the conversation to what his purpose was?
To fight.
But again, your purpose was what?
To talk.
And at some point during those conversations, did he calm down?
He did.
Is that why you went to meet him?
That's correct.
Did you want to meet him at your parents' house?
That's correct.
Certainly, would you have done anything unlawful?
Objection to leading.
Would you?
What, if anything, would you have done at your parents' house to hurt Davis McClendon at your parents' house?
Nothing.
Speculation. We have no idea.
What would he have done?
Wait a minute. Okay. I'm going to allow it. Go ahead.
Nothing.
That's where you were supposed to be.
That's correct.
In the communications that Mr. Meadows asked you about, do you deny that, I guess it was communication, you had some text messages with a friend, and I'm just laying the groundwork. Do you deny that you said something to the... Did you feel that way at that time?
I did. I felt
Why?
that way. Because of what he was doing behind my back with my wife.
Did you think that was wrong?
I did.
Did you say at some point, I think Mr. Meadows asked you something. Did you make that statement?
I did.
At the time you made the statement, did you believe that?
Yes, that's the way I felt.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's the way I felt.
All right, so the words and the actions don't, for me, quite line up. I don't know what this jury's thinking, but which one would you believe? The way he was acting or the words he's saying now in court? All right, folks, let's get you back inside that South Carolina courtroom where the defendant is still on the stand, but Ackerman continues his testimony. Now he's on redirect in the jealous husband murder trial.
Yep.
Mr. Meadows asked you about, were you on the phone with Davis McClendon when you were going down Aben Road? Do you remember that?
I can't recall.
Okay. Based on the evidence in this case, at the time of impact, when the car was hit and Mr. McClendon was hit, where was his phone?
In his vehicle?
And there's a picture of that in evidence, is that right?
That's correct.
Have you denied any of the locations that Mr. Meadows asked you about that you went to?
I have not.
Have you pretty much agreed during your cross-examination with all the places that he suggested you may have traveled to?
That's correct.
And your purpose?
Just to find Meredith.
When was the first time that you realized that they were out together?
When Davis called me.
That was that first phone call where you had a conversation?
That's correct.
So your plan was to meet him at your parents' house
That's correct.
to have this discussion?
That's correct.
And who changed it?
He did.
And where did he say to meet you?
At the Avon Sawgrass location.
And did you call him back and tell him you were not going to meet him there?
That's correct.
And is that the conversation that you had described on your direct examination about what he said to you?
That's correct.
Did he calm down during that conversation?
He did.
And is that the reason that you went down there?
That's the reason I agreed to meet him.
When you were going down Aben Road, at some point, did you go into the left lane?
I did.
Whatever, it wasn't marked, but did you go into the left side of the road?
I did.
You knew the car was there.
That's correct.
Did you see him until the last second?
I did not.
What was your purpose in going into the left lane and approaching his vehicle?
To talk to him.
All right, and how were you going to do that?
To pull up beside his vehicle.
Did you know how fast you were going?
I did not.
Did you know how fast you were going until this trial?
I did not.
Mr. Meadows asked you why you didn't steer to the right. Why you went into the car. Why?
To stop the motion of the truck from moving forward.
Would you have hit his car?
Objection to leading.
Okay. What, if anything, you would have done, what, if anything, did you do to avoid hitting him?
I hit his car.
Is there evidence of that in this case?
I believe so.
Did you intentionally hit him?
I did not.
Did you intentionally try to kill him?
I did not.
Afterwards, what was your emotional state when you realized that you had hit him and he was laying in the road or on the side of the road?
I was just panicked and in a state of shock, felt nauseous and sick. I didn't know what to do.
Do you remember yelling?
I do.
Do you remember admitting? Do you remember anything else that you said?
No, sir.
Why were you yelling?
because I couldn't believe what just happened and how he got to that position and what all just transpired.
Are you sorry this happened?
I'm very sorry.
That's all.
Any recross, Mr. Meadows?
Very brief.
Sure.
You went to talk at 35 miles an hour, correct?
That's what it shows.
And you chose to leave your house and go meet him, didn't you?
Per our conversation.
But you chose to drive down there from 1714 O'Havyville, go down to Abbey Road. That was your choice.
Yes, per our conversation.
And you drove. Your hand, your foot drove your car down Abbey Road
That's correct.
at 35 miles an hour
That's correct.
and didn't stop, go less than that after you hit him, did you?
That's what it shows.
And you actually said on direct Recross, you swerved hard to avoid him, didn't you?
I did.
Swerved real hard.
I did.
So you'd have gone into that side of the vehicle and knocked it off the road. Should have gone that way, shouldn't it?
I can't tell you what should have happened.
And Mr. Swirling asked you about the records and all. You don't dispute them. I want to be clear. Brandon Smith, who we brought out earlier, and there's going to be a reply witness. That's not the mayor of Greenwood, Brandon Smith.
That's correct.
It's another Brandon Smith.
It's my cousin.
That's your cousin. Okay. And he asked you about the phone calls. This happened at 1:11:34. And I think you said you were about to call 911, but you heard the sirens, correct?
That's correct.
Didn't call 911, didn't call the hospital. But you don't dispute you called Ed McCollum at 1:31, do you?
That's
Yes, Your Honor, that's not redirect. I didn't bring that. I didn't go into that on redirect.
I agree.
Your Honor, he said all the records that he agreed to. Do you agree you called him?
You gonna leave it at that?
Oh, that's all.
Okay. All right, give an answer, Mr. Hackman.
Yes.
That was 20 minutes after this, right?
That's what it shows.
Of course it's on.
Sure.
All right, let's bring back in our guest trial attorneys, Robin Nunn and Kelly Hyman. Kelly, I'll start with you. All right, that was it. That was the end of his testimony for this trial. Where do we stand as far as you're concerned with this idea of intentionality for this act?
Based on the fact that he took the witness stand, and at first when he was doing the direct, it seemed really good. It was going really well. But on cross-examination, they started to see him cursing. It really started to show that there was intent, and I don't know if his attorney did enough to the jury to make a determination that he's not guilty. So it did some serious damage.
Yeah, Robin, it seemed to me that the defense attorney was really trying to convince this jury that he wanted this meeting, the defendant did, at his parents' house. And of course, if you have the meeting at your parents' house, you're not going to do anything awful there, right? But that's not where the meeting was. And easily, from driving from his parents' house to that place, he could have formed the intent.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the defense counsel was obviously trying to paint a picture that this was a reasonable individual who was bringing someone over to his mom and dad's house to have a very, calm conversation about this relationship and next steps. However, that obviously is not what transpired, and with the two individuals having had alcohol in their system, it seems highly unlikely that that's what was going to occur, even if they had met up at the parents' place. This seemed like a really volatile situation, one that should have never been planned.
Yeah, the agreement to meet, initial idea to meet was a bad one, and the wife setting it up and helping them set it up was a bad one as well. At the end of the day, the anger of the victim. Quickly, I got about 30 seconds. Does that play into this at all?
Absolutely. You want to know who was the person that started this and who's the person that ended this. So the anger is definitely going to play a role. But nothing good usually happens at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly, after a few drinks especially. All right.